Mr. President, thank you for taking my questions about clinical integration and accountable care organizations. I want to make sure my colleagues at CHS have the most current and accurate information about healthcare reform.
You are welcome, Dr. Wright. I only wish we could have hosted the entire Metro group for this conversation. I hope I can trust you to carry this message back to them in a way that conveys the true intent of the 2,000 pages of the APACA Act.
Mr. President, APACA is not really on the agenda. We are focused on clinical integration. Clinical integration is a strategic focus area for CHS in 2011. We don't have time to read the 2,000 pages.
Well, I haven't bothered to read it either. Maybe I'll find time in the second term to get around to it. In the meanwhile, I will leave it to the White House interns to read. Don't you have some interns around CHS that you could ask to read it?
No, our interns have an 80-hour work limit, but we can give it to the management company to read. Those people never sleep, and they don't have a work hour limit.
All right then, there are 5 key concepts to grasp. Let's start with defining what clinical integration means.
Mr. President, isn't clinical integration a basic concept for this highly intelligent audience? After all, they are career hospital administrators, doctors and nurses. You would think so, Mr. President, or as my kids would say, ya think?
Well, I hope they know it means doctors and nurses are working together to provide the most efficient, effective care. Are you familiar with the medical home?
Medical home. Medical home. CHS almost has a patent on the medical home. Does the name Dr. Alan Dobson mean anything to you? May I suggest you give Dr. Don Berwick the boot and replace him with Alan Dobson?
Clinical integration, medical home, team-based care.
Team-based care? Team-based care? None of today's payers pay for anything other than sick care by a single provider. I don't think Bill Clinton was the only president to inhale.
It gets harder. You have to add cross-continuum paths and care coordination. Tell me one healthcare system that has done this well. No one. And no one is paying for it. That's why we have made it a federal law.
Cross-continuum and care coordination? Now it is time for Connie Bonebrick to put the Wonder Woman costume on and go to work.
I'd love to stay and take a few more questions, but Dr. Roger Ray has promised to help me with my golf game today. Dr. Wright, has anyone told you that you looked like Sarah Palin?
Thanks, Mr. President. Better to look like Sarah Palin than Eleanor Roosevelt.